Hello everyone, this is Moses from Moses in Korea. In today's video, I will talk about things that you guys are so curious about, which is how to prepare for KGSP document. And I will share with you some tips from my friend who came on KGSP scholarship. And currently, I'm official study in Korea supporter. So if you're curious about more on Korean culture or study in Korea, just subscribe for more information and let's get it. What is a KGSP or GKS scholarship? It's a scholarship where you prepare documents, you apply to a Korean university, and when you are admitted, the Korean government will pay for your school fees, living expenses, and help with other help that you will need. And it's a limited number of students in every country, so it makes it a scholarship very hard. That's why you have to work hard, and when you're admitted, it's really an amazing opportunity. KGSP or GKS scholarship procedures. Usually in September, there is an announcement on the Korean embassy website in your country, and you can also find the announcement on the official Study in Korea website. Until January, almost 5 months, it's like selecting and picking students. So the first stage is done by the Korean embassy, the second stage is done by the NID, and the third stage is done by the universities. Qualification of application. There are two conditions. The first one, you have first to graduate from high school. Of course, if you want to enter in a university, you have to graduate from high school, or you have to be waiting for the result of the high school national examination. Second condition, you have to basically have good grades. You know, there are different ways to grade in different country. There are some country who use 4, some country who use 4.3, some country who use 100 points. And if you look at the table here, you will find the table of conversion. You can convert your marks and submit your document. Another thing, you have to be above the highlighted line, because that's the limit, and you have to be smart. Another thing, your body, or you have to be healthy, because of course the disabled person are also allowed, but they favor someone who can come to Korea and be more active during the everyday activities. Document to submit. So if you're now qualified for the scholarship, it's time to prepare for the document, right? To be honest, if you prepare well the document, it's really important, and it will also be easy for you to go for the interview. So don't worry, I will explain every document one by one, so keep in touch. The first one is the application. You have to fill up the form with your personal information, your name, your age, your address, and it will be more favorable if you can speak Korean language or a very good English. As I mentioned, it is preferable to have like abilities in Korean language or in English, because one of my friends who came on the scholarship, they had those abilities. And another thing is to think about the universities you want to apply to or the majors you want. And I'm sure all of you want to go in Seoul National University, but guess what? If everyone wants to go in Seoul National University, the competition will be really, really hard. If you look below, there is a place where you will write your grade. And as I mentioned before, on the qualifications, to be honest, on a scale at 80%, the grade, that's the criteria that will make you be selected. So I have also friends who came on the KGSP scholarship, and to be honest, all of them was the first in their classes. So keep that in mind. The next one is the written oath. The written oath is just a vow that you will keep the promise. So nothing hard, just check, and check. That's all. The next one is the introduction. guys, the introduction is also so important. So if your English or your Korean language is not that enough, it's your time for you to appear and show your other abilities. You have to write who you are, your experiences, and why you want to go to Korea. A lot of students that write that I love K-pop, they love K-drama, but I want you to write in another direction. Especially try to mention that the reason why you want to go in a Korean university. You have to mention that after studying, you will come back and help your country with what you learned in Korea. The next one is the study plan. Study plan is also important as your introduction. For example, the reason why you choose that major, why you want to study in that field, especially if in the high school you had a good grade or you have any experience in that field, and after graduating, how you are planning to use it in your future life. Especially mention how after learning this major you will use it for the development of your country, or how to invent something useful. And please go more in details, but because it will be helpful. The next one is the recommendation letter. You can ask it to your teacher or the dean of studies in your high school. It's not that hard. The next one is the self-medical assessment. The KGSP scholarship, they select someone who can basically be able to do all the normal activities, and if you lie on your test, it might be considered even if you are selected. So please keep that in mind. The next one is the high school certificate. I told you about the first needed qualification, right? So if you have already graduated from high school, or you are waiting for the result of the high school national exam, just go to the school and pick up your certificate, and that's all. The next one is the high school reports. They will need your high school report for the last 3 years to check if it's matched with your certificate, or how was your grade in the previous last 3 years. The next one is birth certificate and a copy of your parent passport. The KGSP scholarship is basically for foreigners. So if you have a Korean parent, or you live abroad, or you have one parent who is Korean, you will not be allowed to get this scholarship. The next one is award winning. If you have any award, just please write it, because you may feel like it's just a very little award, but to be sure, it will help you to stand among others. The next one is a Korean or English language certificate. If you have any of these certificates, it will be very helpful in the document, and it will give you more advantages. And if you can speak Korean or English fluently, you will have a really big probability to be selected. And if you have time now, please work and study on your Korean and English. The next one is a successor to Korean War veteran certificate. It's not that important, but if you have a father or a grandfather who participated in the Korean War, get that certificate and submit it, because it can give you 5% chances to be selected among others. The next one is the Korean Overseas Certificate. To be honest, me too, I don't know what it is, but the person who had that certificate know what it is. So if you have it, submit it. If you don't have it, no problem. The next one is a letter signed by a doctor that your health is okay. But don't worry about this point, because they will ask you this letter after you pass the first stage. The next one is a copy of your passport, but don't worry about this part also, because you will submit a copy of your passport after you will pass the first stage, because they will need it for the plane and to reserve your ticket to Korea. So keep that in mind. So guys, today I told you again about the KGSP and GKS scholarship. Hopeful the video was helpful to you. And I'm also planning to make other videos about the KGSP scholarship. So if you don't want to miss those helpful information, don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any question or curious about something else, just comment below or fill up the form. I will reply to you. So let's end up the video and see you in the next one. 안녕.